So I thought I would do a quick video just to help those that have recently purchased our gap analysis document, or those that are interested in purchasing it, to help them understand exactly how the document works. So just a very quick video taking you through that. And really the starting point, which is in the gap analysis document, is to sit back and appreciate, if you like, the product governance framework that's required under the Consumer Duty, because our document is very much framed around this product governance framework, which, if done right, encompasses all the elements of the Consumer Duty. So, of course, the starting point is to make sure that you've got your product management framework in place, which includes your product approval process under PRIN 2A.3. So as part of that, you're looking at who your target market is, why your product or service that you're proposing is beneficial for the target market. And then what's really important is that you delve down into the characteristics of customers in your target market. So you're looking at things like their education levels, their average reading age, any vulnerabilities in your target market. And recent feedback from the FCA asks you to look at groups of vulnerable customers as well. And also, as part of that, you might be looking at things like their experience with financial services. Once you've understood the characteristics of your customers and why your product is meant to be beneficial for them, you can then design your distribution strategy or design your product in a way to avoid any potential harms or foreseeable harms that you may see or come across or identify for those individuals. Equally, at the same time, you're designing the product then to help them achieve their financial objectives, whether that's something on an advised basis or perhaps just to use and enjoy the product. And as you're designing the product or service, you need to be doing that in good faith. And there's a number of markers that you need to look out for there, such as the design of your financial promotions, not including sludge practices within the support provision, and of course, focusing on the consumer understanding outcome properly. Once you've designed your product, you then also need to undertake your value assessment. That's had a lot of feedback from the FCA, as firms, I think, have struggled to properly understand how to assess value for their products and services. So we've had good and pro practices came out in the summer of 2024. We've had a review of insurance firms' value assessments in the summer as well. So that's all really valuable, and that's all been factored in to our gap analysis. Once we've assessed value, we can then undertake that communication testing. The communication needs to be designed around the information needs for your customers. So again, coming back to that target market, their characteristics, and understanding what information you need to provide your customers at what time to allow them to use the service as well as they can, based around their understanding or their likely understanding of your type of product. So you're supporting them through the journey. And that's been quite clear from the original guidance from the FCA and their follow-up work. We'll launch the distribution strategy, so we'll put the product into the real world, but of course things don't end there. We then look at our outcomes monitoring, product reviews, and ultimately the board report, which pulls together the results of the MI that you would have created following your outcomes monitoring and product reviews, reported that to your relevant committee. They would have identified the key areas that you need to focus on to improve your products, to create better value, to make things better for customers, and then a high-level summary gets included in your board report. And again, we've had feedback from the FCA around board reports, so there's a few markers to look out for in your reporting. So an understanding of that product governance framework as required by the duty really helps you work with our gap analysis template. So what we've done to help you is create a really detailed gap analysis, around 28 pages of fun, whereby you can go through all of the required areas within the duty. So I'm just going to show you the contents page. We'll cover things like the processes and policies that you should have in place. And then we'll take you through that product governance framework. So the product approval process, value assessments, communications, and it goes through in a logical manner through ultimately to management reporting, that outcomes monitoring reporting, and the board report. In each area, we'll have really detailed questions, checking that your, in this case, consumer duty policy hits the right markers, hits what the regulator is after. And we've included, or we've reviewed this, I should say, really, following the recent feedback around payment services firms, and also good and poor practices in relation to value and outcomes monitoring earlier in this year as well. So we've reviewed it, made sure it's in line with all of the recent feedback, and it's a great starting point just to check how well you have implemented the duty. So you basically run through the checklist, answering the questions, seeing if there's any gaps, putting the finding in place, and then following that, identifying where your major actions are or your main actions to improve. If when you're doing it, you come across any need for advice or support, any help with prioritizing any of the actions, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to guide and help you throughout the journey.